It is no secret. We are in summer. It is hot. People are immediately going, listen, we got to get the AC running up and going.
Yeah.
We know what it feels like inside, but sometimes we forget that this is what makes it feel good, and we got to take care of this.
This is our best friend. We should give it a hug once in a while.
Yeah, it's like a car and oil change.
We're here with our good friends Renee and Travis talking about this upkeep, because that is such an important aspect of making sure things are running correctly.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things that are DIY in your home. And so people ask a lot, like, what can I do myself to save some money? Maintenance is the first thing that always comes up. So when you look at this unit, for example, it looks fine.
Right.
It doesn't look like it needs anything done to it. And so a lot of people will think that maintenance is not important. But as you'll see over where Travis is, it's very important. So the DIY part is people will take a hose or a power washer and they'll try to wash out their air conditioner. What happens?
I don't know if you can see the fins. It is a little dirty, but these fins, they're not super fragile, but they cannot take a pressure washer. And what happens is the spray bends them over, flattens them, then we can't get the air transfer through. And your heat that's being pulled out of your house circulates in and goes right back in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a homeowner send us a picture and it was destroyed. They had to get a new unit.
All from using a power washer or even a hose on like a full jet stream.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go at an angle. You can go at an angle down,
Okay.
but you can't go at an angle sideways.
Yeah.
Because it's going to bend
It's
those.
going to bend the fins because they're
Wow.
aluminum.
We know people want to DIY some things.
Yep.
Are there things that we can DIY? Are there parts in this that we can do ourselves, take care of, things like that?
You really want to think more about like changing your filter, changing the batteries in your thermostat, making sure that a breaker's not off or something like that. But when it comes to actually changing parts in your air conditioner, sometimes, you know, you may go online and it's like, oh, it's easy to change X, Y, and Z, but there are so many wires.
You get inside an electrical component and say you forget to turn power off, the disconnect, or you think it's off,
Or
Yeah.
you don't know what that is.
or you don't know what it is.
Yeah, which is also true.
Yes, it's a funny story. It wasn't so much a DIY, but then my stepdad tried to DIY his mistake. He cut the low voltage wire, took out the transformer, took out his thermostat.
Oh my gosh.
And he lives 75 miles away. So
Yeah.
I had to go down, and he got shocked in the process. So DIY is,
Yeah.
You really have to
More
know what you're
complicated.
doing, yeah, because you got to think you're working with electricity. And so the chance of getting shocked, the number of people that get shocked simply because it looks like you unhook a couple wires and hook them back up, it's just not always that simple.
So should I be washing this, or should I call you guys and say, hey, things aren't working the way that I think they should be working?
Companies have maintenance memberships because there's so much more to actually doing maintenance on a system than just washing it out. That's a very big, important part of it, but that's not all that's entailed with it. And so if you're not comfortable, if you're not mechanically inclined, you know, that sort of thing, I personally, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Now, if he wasn't an HVAC and he was, you know, he worked on cars or something, would he probably do something? Yeah, probably so. But we would just really advise that you know what you're doing, because if you don't, you could do some real damage. We see people all the time that cut the wires of the air conditioner from a weed eater. And so even like, you think like DIY, I don't want a lawn company to come out, I'm gonna mow my grass and weed eat, and then they'll cut the wires on the air conditioner.
Well, and if you don't know anything about these and you don't know what those wires are, you may go, oh, no big deal, got the weeds done.
Yeah.
And now you've created a real
and
issue.
it's 80 in your house.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could also have an underlying problem that's not just from condenser coil, being dirty. You can clean it and think that's it, that's all I've got to do in maintenance, and say it's low on charge. Say you've got a component that's out of range or spec. You did your job, but it's still not working, and then you start to try to DIY this.
Yeah.
And that's where it could go south.
Yeah, that's where people can get in trouble. And I tell you so many times, sometimes it works out fine, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it can be really expensive because you've ended up taking out, like with his stepdad, for example, you know, he took out a couple of different parts. And so that was a significant repair that ended up having to be done.
Yeah.
When should people get a hold of you guys? I know right now is crazy, obviously, with the heat, and it's that time of year.
Yes, I tell you, the thing about maintenance is it's a very important service, but it's not an emergency service. So many people wait until it's 95 degrees outside and they're like, oh my God, that thing outside, I should really get it maintained. And it's hard to get that service done sometimes because we're servicing the people who have no air conditioning.
Sure.
It's broken or whatever. So, you know, the thing that I would say is get on a membership, you know, have this taken care of so that you're not inconvenienced by not having cooling, and then the same thing in the winter, not having having heating. There are so many times, it's not perfect, but there are so many times that something can be prevented or something can be seen, or so many fixes are maintenance related.
Yeah.
Like that dirty coil over there, when it's hot like this, your system will fall behind or not run because it's that dirty.
Yeah, and it's strictly due from a dirty coil, condenser coil. That's
Yeah.
it.
Nobody wants a dirty coil. Don't let your coil get dirty.
Don't have
all right?
dirty coils.
Yeah.
Take care of the baby here.
Renee, thank you guys so much. Get a hold
Yeah.
of them for all your needs to make sure this thing is running, because you don't want it to get 80, 85 inside the house this time of year.
Keep that outside, that's for sure.
We'll have all that information at lifestylelive.tv.